Right, I'll be right with you. I just have to... Haha! I just... Haha! Oh, God. Did I step on the microphone? Is it working? Hello. Hello and welcome to haQ. My name is Jakob. I'm your host and you're watching a haQ episode. In this episode, we're going to have a look at BLEASS.
So first, it's pronounced Bliss, which is kind of a state where you are in the moment, making your music and feel at ease and happy inside.
So in other words, Bliss is bliss. Okay, so before we start, I just want to tell you what this video is going to be. Normally, when I make a Docutorial, I include interview parts, music demo parts, review parts, and also tutorial parts. But this time, I've kind of taken the tutorial part out of it. I've done this before in a few videos, where I just wanted to show you why I like a product and also show you the people behind the product, or products in this case. Now in this video, we're gonna handle two apps from Bliss, and that's the Bliss Groovebox, the flagship of this company, and also Bliss Delay. There are two other apps out there, but at the time when I started making this video, these two apps weren't out there. And I've been working on this video for so long now, I just wanted to get it out, so I'll probably have a look at those apps in another video. And so this is going to be the story about Bliss apps, how they came to be, and also the people behind them. So without further ado, let's dig into this. Now, I did do interviews with all of the guys involved with BLEASS, 3 guys. And so I want you to hear their story, both about their apps and also about themselves.
Bliss is a company which has been founded by Tomas. Tomas is a sound engineer and he has been working in music and recording and mixing rock bands for like 20 years. He now works in Paris. He made the first prototypes and he is a visionary behind Bliss, especially the Bliss Groovebox. As he was looking to create a kind of company and looking at how we could make this happen in the iOS music scene, he came to me and we finally found Alexis, who is a developer, who is also a musician. And he was the key guy to put this prototype into a real stable and efficient iOS music app, so Bliss Groovebox. And later on, we came to develop the Bliss Delay.
You say finally, but we know each other since 10 years almost. So
yeah,
I played in a band before doing development for Bliss, and Vianney was my manager. And so Tomas used to meet together and to talk about music together. So behind this company, it's also like a friendship story, you know, and some people who know each other since
for a very long time.
For a very long time.
Quite some time, yeah.
My favorite software to make music is LSDJ. Really, it's the greatest thing I've ever tried in music. But the problem is that because it's only 4 beats, of dynamic. It's always aggressive and so the guys in my band told me, no, stop with your stupid, silly sounds. And then I decided to program something with the same approach of composing music, but with the 16 beats of dynamics, with the real sound of today. So I decided to become a programmer, and then I discovered Pure Data. And then during 2 years, I was only making that, programming this application, and finding in my neighborhood cool guys to do that with me. And the first was Alexi, who told me, okay, if you want to do that, you have to learn C programming, you have to learn that and that and that. And then I have been to Vianney to say, Vianney, you are in the music business and software business. Help me. He said, okay, I'm really in love with these two guys. If they didn't say yes, we're going to help you, the app wouldn't have existed.
So we're gonna take a look at the BLEASS Groovebox and something I like about its interface. You see, for many years now, I've been using strictly iOS as my main platform. Before that, I used to have a big studio. I used to have all the hardware you could ever possibly think of. Synthesizers, drum machines, patch bass. I've even had modular stuff in my studio. I used to build my own musical PCs. One of them contained these 3 huge DSP cards from a system called Creamware. At that time, I was a Cubase user, and Cubase is something I've been using for ages. I've also used Fruit Loops, I've used Logic, I've used a lot of different types of DAWs. However, Ableton Live was one of those DAWs that I really couldn't befriend because it was so different from everything else that I was used to. But there is something that Ableton Live has that is just superior when you want to work in a live environment. And that is clip launching. And BLEASS Groovebox has that. If I press play now, nothing's gonna happen, but the clock has started and the sequencer is actually running. It's just that I haven't launched any clips, so I'm gonna do that. As you can see, it's really nice to be able to launch clips like this, and they're all tied to a tempo. If I turn something off, if a drum loop is running and I press on it in order to stop it, it's gonna wait for the end of the pattern.
As I told you, I am a Game Boy fan, so my version of the prototype was really Game Boy friendly. There is the actual version, my prototype version, and my initial drawing version. The first drawings were in 2015, and the very first line of programming I made was the 1st of September 2015. It was just to make the main clock of the app, and then 2 years of programming on my own. And then after that, I gave the prototype to Alexis, and Alexis took something like 3 or 6 months to make something real with it.
You know what would go well with this? Some dubbed out vocals over it. And you know what goes perfect with dubbed out vocals? A delay. And luckily, BLEASS, I keep saying BLEASS, and the guys from BLISS made a delay. One of the features I absolutely love in this delay is the way you can oversteer the feedback and really make it scream. You see, that's something I want in all of my reverbs. reverbs. You see, that's something I want in all of my delays.
My thing with the guys is the main app, and now they are having fun with programming some stuff on the side.
We wanted to go into AUV3 apps, and within this Groovebox you've got a delay effect, which also can be a ping pong delay effect. And we started to think, why not bringing that delay effect into a separate dedicated app, AUV3 app. That was when Alexis came with more ideas about the Bliss delay.
I wanted delays that have some craziness here, you know. If you use the delay of Ableton, it's okay, but you can never put the feedback above 100%. Create like in dub music, you have something that grew up, and you have to download a different VST. And I thought it's such a shame that they didn't make that. For instance, in my studio, I use Boss DD3 or Boss DD5, which you can put the feedback in the maximum, and it goes very, very, very high. I was inspired by this kind of pedal, you know, that are designed for guitarists, but I use a lot with synthesizer, so why not put these things inside the audio unit? And I also a big fan of a frequency shifter because it always sounds weird and unexpected. So I wanted to add this frequency shifter in the feedback loop. We wanted to create something with a unique sound. So I'm very happy to make a product that I can use, and not only for the customer, you know.
Now, I can't sing that well, but I can probably say some stuff. So first I gotta figure out how to do this. So we've got this connected to here now. What would be good is if I could connect that to this. This is why I like these delays.
We were very, very happy with the feedback that the community gave us regarding the Bliss delay. It has been very encouraging, and so we will certainly go in that direction. That is making more IUV3 plugins.
There's a neat little update that has been done to Bliss, and if we look at the IOM here, we can see that I have individual outputs coming from Bliss. This means that you can now process each of your instrument tracks inside Bliss on their own channels inside AUM. So you can put your own favorite effects on there, compressors, equalizers, all of that stuff. And you can also record each of the channels by themselves live, which is pretty cool when you want to work live and have everything recorded at the same time in multi-tracks, meaning you can then afterwards just mix stuff in a very nice way.
If we could introduce Tomas without him being here, which can be also quite funny, I would say that he's a nerd sound engineer with very, high standards about music production.
Yeah, and also he's a big fan of Game Boy music.
He used to have plenty of hardware stuff, and as he was touring with his band, We Are Enfants Terribles, he was always, in planes or buses. He couldn't open his, laptop with Ableton and all this stuff. And to compose, he started to use his iPad. And that's how he came to test almost every app he could. Among those apps, some of them did inspire him to do apps. To do his own app, and we must say that apps like Modstep or Elastic Drums were a big influence and have led us and have led Tomas to make his own app.
Now, I don't know if you remember, but Vianney did mention that Thomas used to travel around with a band called We Are Enfant Terrible. Now, I don't know if I butchered that. I probably did, but that's because I'm Swedish trying to speak English and French at the same time. Now, I did ask Thomas about this, and he gave me the shortest, most brilliant answer ever.
We are Enfant Terrible. It's a band with a beautiful singer, a crazy drummer, and my Game Boy.
So I've been sitting here thinking or wondering if I should do the technical rundown of all of the features inside the Groovebox, the Bliss Groovebox. And I've decided against it because the list of features, here they are. Here are the features. You can see them right there. What can I tell you more than that? Well, I can tell you that you can switch out the drum samples inside the drum machine with your own samples. You can load them from other samples that you might have somewhere else. You can also record samples directly in there. I can tell you that the synths sound good, but that's a very subjective thing, so that's not really going to help you. I mean, you've heard some of it. It already comes with a lot of good sounding drums. I like the chord interface in the chord synthesizers. The monophonic synth sounds great, but in order for you to really grasp what the Bliss Groovebox really is, you have to try it out for yourself, and you're in luck because it's freemium. So you don't have to pay anything unless you go pro. You want the MIDI and the other stuff, I can't remember what they were right now, but if you want those stuff, if you want to go pro with it, that's when you start paying. And you can do that one-off purchase of $15 and you'll have all of that. Go try it out, because I cannot, through this video, tell you how you're gonna feel or what it's gonna feel like being used by you. You know, I always ask developers about their musical history, where they learned about music, or if they are or consider themselves being musicians at all. I always get interesting answers. It's just that sometimes the video might become too long, or sometimes I don't have time in order to make a longer video. And so many times I cut that out. I leave it out. But this time I want to put some of it in there because, you know, it is interesting.
I come from a family of musicians. My father did play the piano. I learned piano when I was a kid. Then, I like many kids, I came to learn guitar, you know, electric guitar. And after that, when I was in my teenage years, I got interested in Cubase and Fruity Loops. So I've always been making music. And when I finished my studies, I started a company which will work mainly at promoting artists. So I had the chance to work for many artists. I helped to make the promotion about the release of albums, but my specialty was digital promotion. So I worked with French labels like Headbanger Records. I also worked for Warp Records in the French division. And I also worked for music festivals, French music festivals. And I would help them with, you know, building a community on Facebook. I also, in my early years, made a lot of MySpace pages and stuff for musicians. So it was quite a long time ago. I did this between 2007 and 2012. And that's also where I came to meet Alexis and became also the manager of his band. So I've always been into the, what we will call, you know, music business.
I think I learned music because you have to do something in the afternoon, and I didn't want to make sports, so I go to the music school, and so I learned how to read and to write great music. As soon as I had a computer in my home, I started to think about doing music on computer. So I started to make using Guitar Pro, for composing just guitar stuff. And after I downloaded some software, and I ended up using Cubase for a long time. And after I moved to MacBook and use a lot of GarageBand and Logic. Yeah, I played in a band in France for 8 years, I think. Not so famous, but we had the chance to make some gigs in Iceland, in Japan, UK, one in Germany. And we toured a lot in France. So it was a very nice experience because we met a lot of people. And also, after my graduation, I chose to go to university to learn audiovisual studies. And I passed an exam into sound and video engineering, but more in the scientific way. And I worked in an audio software company in the north of France for 7 years before to go to work for the BLEASS project.
Guitar player, but I'm only playing with one finger, and I fell in love with the MPC. The MPC was really my instrument during years, because I tried with computer, but for me it means something you use in the office. Today is different, but I didn't have a real good feeling with using computers on stage. I did it once, and the computer was lagging, like tuck, 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 tuck. And then I searched for something really hard, strong, that I could throw to a wall, and it's still working. So the MPC was the perfect thing. But composing in the MPC is really hard, because you quickly obtain something interesting on a small sequence. But when you want to write a song, it's like going in menus and submenus and submenus and just moving one step, and you don't know if it's the right one. On the other side, I was with the Game Boy. And on the other side, in my pocket, there were my iPhones, but that's 5 years ago. I tried all the apps existing at this time. Today, I don't know, because there is so much apps today, so much great apps. I'm also playing some saxophone sometimes.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you've come this far, then why not support me by subscribing? Pressing that thumbs up is really helpful, because likes on YouTube are good. YouTube likes, YouTube really likes. If I jump over here, also you have these links here, so you've got Patreon, you've got PayPal. You can find me over at, do I have my Bandcamp link there? I don't know, maybe I should put that in. If I don't, I think I do. You can also find me on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and I really love it when you hook up with me on Instagram. When you do that, if you follow me on Instagram, whenever you put up a music jam or something, you make a little screen recording of whatever app you're using, you're filming your latest hardware synth or something musical. If you want to communicate music to the rest of the world, why don't you tag me so I can see it too? As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. I like making these types of videos the most, the docutorials, because they allow me to really go deep into an app, how it was developed and the people behind it. And oh God, I love those stories. If I had the time, I would make every video 1 hour long. Don't worry, I won't, but I would, because of the creation process of actually making a video like that is really satisfying.